You know, as the owner of a property management company, I often talk to other property management companies who have this negative view of their tenants, their residents, and it's unfortunate for a variety of reasons. I'm Mark Cunningham with Grace Property Management, and if you're a resident, you may have realized that not all landlords are great. Yeah, I know, you didn't think that, did you? They're not. There are bad landlords, just like there are some difficult residents and tenants as well. So if you're a tenant, what are some things you should be looking for to ensure that the relationship you're going to have with your landlord is going to be fair, that you're working with a reputable, good, solid landlord that you can do business with for a long time? Well, number one, you want to make sure you have a legally compliant and fair lease agreement. Now, you say, well, how do I even know that? Well, a couple things. Look for, on that lease agreement, somewhere on that lease, it must say, and this is if you're in the state of Colorado, it must say that this lease agreement has not been approved by the state of Colorado, because that's just standard. But it's also going to say this lease agreement has been reviewed and approved by such and such attorney, a legal attorney, specifically for the property management company's name. So if you're reading our lease agreement, it's going to say this lease agreement has not been approved by the state of Colorado, because none of them can be, but it has been reviewed and approved by THS Law Firm on behalf of Grace Property Management. That is a state law. So if you're about to sign a lease and you can't find that on there, you may be working with a PM company that isn't in full compliance legally with the lease agreement itself. Now, how do you know if the lease agreement is fair? Well, that's a little bit more of a tricky question, but you want to read the thing in full. I know it's a big, scary, long lease agreement, but take a few minutes to read through that lease. Find things specifically like, when exactly is the rent due? Do you have a grace period? What type of late fee penalties are there? Because some of those can be overly difficult. Is that something that's fair as you read it? What about maintenance? How are you to make maintenance requests? Are you able to make maintenance requests? What does that look like for you as the tenant? How quickly do you get your deposit back? Read through it. What types of things are they going to deduct for on your security deposit return? So make sure that your lease agreement is solid. Number two, you want to make sure the property itself is legally compliant and in rent-ready condition. Legally compliant meaning, does it adhere to the Colorado standards for what's called the warranty of habitability? I know, a big, yucky legal word. Warranty of habitability. That's a legal concept. You can Google it or find it on our website, the Colorado Warranty of Habitability. That's a law in Colorado that lists a number of things that properties must have in place to be legally habitable. Things like windows that lock, things like mechanical aspects that work, things like, so a lot of it's very common sense and basic, but some's a little bit more detailed. It has to have a smoke detector, it has to have a CO detector, they have to be installed in certain positions and places within the property. So make sure it's legally compliant. If you've got questions, look up the warranty and habitability, and make sure it's rent ready. So if that means if you've seen the property and the landlord tells you it's going to be clean, or the carpets are going to be changed, or that wall's going to be painted, I'd be hesitant to sign the lease. Wait and see the property when it is rent ready. Because if they tell you it's going to be clean, and you say, okay, and you sign the lease, and you move in, and you say, this place is filthy. Now you've got a problem, don't you? You want to be able to look at a property when it's rent ready so that the landlord can say to you, hey, what you see is what you get. Then you, as the applicant or as the tenant, can decide, no, this isn't clean enough, or I don't like the colors of these walls, or this carpet's too dirty. But don't go off of future promises. Make sure you see the property in its final rent-ready condition before you sign. Another part of rent-ready, did you know in Colorado it is not a legal law that the landlord has to change the locks, replace the locks between tenancies? Now, that's crazy to me, but that's not a law. Of all the laws we have one for that. So ask your landlord, hey, did you rekey this property after the prior tenant moved out? Make sure you're getting fresh keys. Nobody else has access to your property. Number three, you want multiple rent payment options. So say to your landlord, hey, Mr. Landlord, Miss Landlord, how do I pay my rent? Hopefully it's not just a check in the mail. Certainly don't pay with cash. Certainly get a receipt. But ideally you want to be able to go online, pay with an ACH, pay with a bank debit, pay with a credit card. Online payment options are going to be more convenient for you as a tenant. You should hopefully have a resident portal where you can log in, see all your rent payments, but make sure you're getting receipts. Never pay with cash, ever, ever, ever. Number four, what kind of policy and process is there in place for emergency repairs? When the water heater blows up at 3 a.m., because surveys show water heaters only go out between 3 and 4 a.m. on Fridays and Saturday nights. So when that happens, who are you going to call? Who can you talk to? If you have to leave a message with water running everywhere, that's not a good thing. There should be a 24-hour answering repair service that you can call when something goes wrong, and they're going to be on that promptly. So find out from your landlord how that is going to work. And number five, your security deposit protection. See, the security deposit, even when you pay it to the landlord, legally it is still yours as the tenant. It belongs to you legally. The landlord is holding it until you vacate the property. Then they'll do a refund to you or withhold for any damages that are there. But in the meantime, it is legally your money. That means if we as the property management company hold it, which I think is the best practice, we should be, rather than the landlord, we have to hold that in a separate trust account, not to the landlord, not to us, but in a trust account. So ask your landlord, hey, who's holding the security deposit? To take it a step further, your lease agreement is required by state law to disclose where the security deposit is being held. Is it held by the owner? And if so, that's okay. Or is it held by the property management company? But find out who's holding that security deposit. Now, if you're one of our tenants, we're doing these things for you, and we hope to have a long relationship that way. If you're thinking of applying to rent one of our properties, we'd love to have you as a tenant. So check out our properties for rent. If you're not one of our tenants and you're having trouble with the landlord, we've helped out a lot of those tenants as well. We're not lawyers, but we're happy to offer thoughts and services and suggestions on what to do if you're dealing with a difficult landlord. So feel free to reach out to us at Grace Property Management. Visit our website, rentgrace.com. We're happy to help, but be cautious. Just as they're difficult tenants, they're difficult landlords. And if you're a tenant, you want to be cautious who you work with. Find somebody who values you as a tenant, who treats you well as a resident. That's going to make a long, good-term relationship for all the parties.